What's up, good people? My name is AJ and you're watching Straight Talks, coming at you with a video here about a day in the life of a CFA Charterholder. Also, I just want to say it's the end of the day right now, but I'm going to use this as an intro. And in the first few clips that I took, I'm recording on my cell phone. I kept the phone standing upright, so I apologize. I don't know how many of those clips I'm actually going to use in this video, but for anything that is in an upright position rather than this laid out more like a screen, the video won't look all that great. Sorry about it, but I hope you enjoy the video. First things first, right after waking up, I make sure that I drink a large bottle of water. I didn't want to talk a lot in my house just to not make too much noise, but basically my morning routine's pretty simple. I mentioned I woke up at 7. I leave the house around 8. It's kind of just eat breakfast, I eat cereal every day, pack my lunch, get dressed, brush my teeth, all that type of stuff. And then, check my bag, make sure I have everything that I need for the day, and head out from the house around 8 o'clock. So for things I'll do when I get to the office is load up my emails and my calendar. Calendar to see if I have any client calls early here in the morning, 8:30 or 9, and anything I need to get ready for right away. And emails to see if any emergencies popped up, or check out the things I'm going to need to take care of here in the first couple hours of the day. Hey, morning Bob, I'm doing well. How about yourself? And I just realized that I had been recording vertically on my phone today, so I don't know if I'll include any of those clips or if you'll see shortened versions of those earlier on here, but I'm going to continue on now in the right aspect ratio. So I talked about appointments and emails in the morning, and I just took a couple notes on things that I worked on earlier on here because it's about noon now. Didn't have any appointments, so typically when I get in and I see that my calendar is pretty open at least until about 11 or noon, I know that I have a little bit more flexibility to get some other things done that day. Had a handful of emails though, and one thing that I would kind of classify as an emergency. We had a client, he had emailed me today. He owns a medical practice and he needed $80,000 to pay taxes out of one of his accounts today. Typically you can't get money out of an account that is invested in certain vehicles within an 8-hour period, and that's what he was asking for. So I talked about margin on that account, potentially doing a wire transfer, trying to get that done by 5 p.m. today. He decided he did not need that money for the tax bill today, and we're going to do an ACH later this week, so that was okay. Had another advisor in the office ask me to update some of our models, the way that they're presented in the Excel tool that we use here internally that shows the advisors what our models look like for that quarter so that they can talk about it with their clients. He just wanted me to make a tweak to how those are displayed in the Excel tool that he uses, so I made an update for him on that and sent it back. One smaller issue, we had a client whose monthly distribution didn't go out correctly because one of their positions in the account that cash gets sent from didn't sell, so I had to do some tweaking to those account features, make sure that that position gets sold automatically each month moving forward to cover their distributions. Had an issue where a rebalance we submitted last week ended a client with a negative cash balance, mostly because when the market's moving pretty quickly, a mutual fund transaction doesn't actually give us the price quote until the end of the day at 4 p.m. So we don't know exactly how much cash that's going to settle for. So we had to make an adjustment to that account. An interesting one in terms of performance measurement, auditing, or calculating. An advisor in the office asked me why his client's percentage return for the year was relatively low. It was at 3% here in September of 2020. And so I did some auditing of that account, the transactions that have gone on in that account, measured the performance from different periods month to month throughout this year so far, just to make sure all the numbers worked and looked correct. And the answer was that the performance was quoted correctly. The advisor was just kind of surprised by the fact that it was a moderate allocation and the client was only up 3% year to date. But I just kind of reminded him that, value stocks, mid-cap stocks, and small-cap stocks are all still down so far this year, and some international stocks as well. So being up 3% year to date is largely driven by long-term bonds, at least in September 2020 they have been, and growth stocks. And that's kind of where that client has ended up. So it was a little lower than he was hoping for, but the performance reporting was accurate. Had a couple calls throughout the morning here too. One notable call was a client asking about what investments, how we would adjust the model sells if they wanted to increase their monthly distribution. So if they increased it from $5,000 to $10,000 a month, what other positions would we sell, or how much would we sell from the existing positions in that account to generate the free cash? So I talked with her about how we would decide on what positions to sell. Really, the answer was just pro rata by the positions in that account, but talked her through it a little bit. So that's what's gone on so far here today. Okay, so I'm home now. It's about 5:30. Left the office at about 5:30 actually. It's like pouring rain, which kind of sucks. I wish I wouldn't have had the soft top out today. But second half of the day, relatively slow. Not too much going on for the second half. Also, I know the first half looked like it would be slower too, but I ended up doing a handful of those calls and emails that required attention and took a little longer than they could have. In the second half, I had one scheduled meeting. It was the client of an advisor who is going to be transitioning out of our practice. It's an advisor who might be retiring in the next few years. And so the meeting I had with this client was a little bit about our firm, which that advisor more recently joined, and myself, an introductory meeting to myself, and talked to them about a couple of his positions in the portfolio, things like that. So pretty easy meeting there. I spent some time looking into a handful of the stocks that are our most held stocks, not stocks we specifically recommend, but are the biggest concentration within our firm's practice, and looked at some technicals and fundamentals on all of those, talked with two different clients about what we're seeing with those. One we kind of recommended as a sell just from a technical perspective, so that's one thing kind of related to the CFA program. There's a little bit of technicals tied to, I can't remember which chapter that is, equities maybe, but it applied a little bit in this conversation. Client decided not to sell it, so they weren't buying into the technical sell order. They still want to hold this thing for another 10-20 years, whatever it might be, and that's fine. But a couple conversations around individual securities today. All right, so it's about 9 o'clock in the evening here now. I ate dinner earlier and then worked on a couple other things. Actually, some preparation for the CFP program that I'm gonna start studying for next week, and I'll just be doing my regular 3 hours a day, hoping to knock that out in like 3 or 4 weeks of study though. But for tonight, just did a little bit of registration, making sure I was all set up for that program. And then I spent an hour down at my local neighborhood association where I'm the treasurer. So tonight's a Tuesday night. Usually I spend about 3 nights a week occupied with like extracurricular types of things or tasks that I'm working on. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday typically, and then I try to give myself Thursday and Friday where I'll just have the whole evening after work to do whatever. So I'll either go to dinner, go out to dinner with my wife, or play some video games, or just watch a movie with her, something like that, where I'm not, I guess, being productive. But yeah, Tuesday night, I spent about an hour doing the bookkeeping. I'm the treasurer of the neighborhood association, and I'm going to edit this YouTube video. It might take me an hour or two, and then that'll be it for Tuesday, maybe around 11 o'clock or something, go to bed. So staying pretty busy. Thursday and Friday will be more chill days. I think this might be the end of the video then, so thanks for watching.